Yeah, I know that you said you wanted me to like interject more, but
It's hard when we have like the same opinions about shit.
yeah, kind of. It's just a lot of me like, yeah. But if I have things to say, like I just might cut you off a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. All right. Well, I guess if you're ready, I guess I'll start it up. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Allegedly Compliant podcast number 3. Right, this is 3. I'm Reno. This is Brendan. We are going to be talking about some stuff today.
Stuff and things.
Mostly guns, not entirely guns, but you know, we're gun people. We're outdoorsy, so it's going to be a lot of that stuff today. To start it off, I want to get back into the recurring segment that I really enjoy. I hope other people enjoy it because I think it just it brings us back. And as gear whores, self-admittedly, I'm a gear whore. Brendan, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah, just we spent hours and hours and hours researching and debating over the minutia of gun stuff. And sometimes it's important to ask yourself, does it even fucking matter?
So I found out like it's a thing. Hyperfixation.
Mm-hmm.
So like I get super focused on one thing and do all the research on it and decide, okay, I'm going to get all of this gear because I've decided this is my new hobby and I'm going to spend several $100s doing this. And then I'm going to do it a couple times and I'm going to find something else and be like, oh, okay, well, what about this one? And I'm going to go and do hours of research, spend a couple $100s, do it a couple times, and then find out something else to do. But that's how you become a jack of all trades.
Yes, and that's how you end up with a garage full of shit.
And you never want to move. Like, it's impossible to move now.
I think when I move next, which, you know, I don't know, I'm kind of at a point where, we'll talk about this in a bit. But, so, does it even fucking matter? We got a lot of shit. We obsess over gear. Today's topic, I think this is going to get people going. Keymod versus Mlok versus Picatinny. This is one that I love the fact that I still own a Keymod AR, and that's my main gun that people see.
Main, yeah.
So, like, you know, when I post a video of me shooting my main gun, it's boom. I get a ton of comments about, oh, this guy's running Keymod, he's going to get killed in the streets. And honestly, you know, at this point, I'm almost more interested in buying more Keymod guns solely because it bothers people. So, back in, I think, 2016 was when the whole Keymod Mlok debate, because Picatinny will always be the true king when it comes to durability, reliability, and compatibility across all platforms.
Yeah. Most of your Keymod and Mlok are just components to add Picatinny.
Yes, like, you know, like you think about it, like if these other platforms still have to have adapters to run Keymod, it's because Keymod is the true standard. Now, Picatinny, yeah, my bad. You know, I love Keymod, so I'm sorry. I'm just so focused on it. So Picatinny is going to be that gold standard, right? But in like 2016, I think it was the battle of Keymod versus Mlok. And eventually a study came out from, I think, Crane, the company that, you know, does a lot of standardized testing for various gun stuff for the military. And they showed that Mlok was technically superior in a lot of ways, which basically killed off Keymod. And I think Mlok was also open source, so there were significantly more companies making Mlok products than there were Keymod because it was easier for them to license it.
It was mostly like holding zero and drop tests?
Yes, the big thing was when mounting IR lasers, this was the big one. There was some other things as far as like durability, like how many times could you beat it with a hammer before it eventually loosens off, but like for a foregrip, is that necessary to like really care about? Not really. But for
if your specialty is bashing in doors and you're using the foregrip as a fucking battering ram, then
so for those people, absolutely, Keymod is not the way to go. But I would argue that if that's your concern,
you're probably gonna have a quad
rail. Quad rail would probably be the answer. But Mlok won for the people. You know, if you're going to be mounting a Picatinny mount on the side and mounting an IR laser or a visible laser onto your Mlok attachment, it showed that Mlok was more likely to hold zero. My argument for that being like the main reason that people are so focused on it being better is how many of you that are running lasers are running them on the side and not running a quad rail. I mean, I know people do it, and like if you're in the military, obviously like you have a much different set of standards that you need to like maintain. But I think when I see people running rails on the 90 degree or the 180 or the 90, the 270 or the 180 for some reason, it's on a quad rail. And almost always when I see people running a laser, it's on the top. So does it really matter? I don't know. I think for the people out there that have Keymod rails like I do, there's absolutely no reason for me to spend $110 for the Mlok version of my rail. Not the barrel nut, it wouldn't be that hard. I would just have to loosen 2 screws. I could pop off my rail, pop a new one on, but it's not worth it. It's a mounting surface that allows me to attach a foregrip to that isn't going to come off. There's no problem with it. Does it look like penises? I mean, I'm sure some of your penises look like Keymod.
If there's like a different design, like if you wanted different handguard that you've been kind of thinking about doing and you don't want to do another build, like you can do it then, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's
really
no point swapping off a existing Keymod for an Mlok.
Yeah.
And so that's why when people comment like, oh, like, why are you still running Keymod? I'm like, bro, I've had this upper since like 2016. Like, I'm not going to spend $150 on it. And it's got a brand new barrel in it, or a recently new barrel, because I was just not really super pleased with the accuracy I got out of that thing. I told BCM, I sent it in, and they just replaced the gas block, the gas tube, and the barrel for free. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. And that was back when I was just some nobody on the internet. I'm still a nobody, but I'm more of a
niche internet nobody.
Yeah, I love those memes. The niche micro influencer.
Yeah.
No, put me back. I was a niche micro internet celebrity.
I want to go back.
Oh man. But yeah, so it's just a reminder. Think about it. Is your gear actually holding you back? For a lot of you, the answer is no. If you are some high-speed, low-drag operator, why the fuck are you listening to me in general? Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, are you mounting a flashlight to the side of your gun? Keymod, like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Oh no, the angle of my flashlight is off by 0.1 degrees.
It's 3 degrees, like, down. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and like, with the amount of candela and lumens that we're outputting on these lights that we're running, it's like, okay, the power of the sun is still fucking blinding you.
I wonder how many people are actually, like, zeroing their... You can't really zero a light, but like you
They're
mount it
shims on the mount to slightly.
Yeah, like, oh, I want it to fan out just slightly this way.
Oh, what I actually like about some of the lights, the way that like on my BRN 180 upper, my little shorty, and then on with my Cloud Defensive, within the home distance, the hotspot is so hot, and it just happens to be like perfect. So like when I'm like in the hallway, and if I point it at the door, the perfect center of that hotspot is where the red dot is. Yeah. So it's like, would I rely on using my light like that? No, but I think there is definitely a skill to point shooting, and there is a time and place for point shooting.
Which we'll get into later.
Fuck it. Let's get into it now. Okay, so I'm going to play this video over the screen while we talk about it. But so I just showed,
Well, it'll be the full screen.
It'll be, maybe just in the center. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I showed Brendan this today, and this I actually initially saw on Twitter, and then I ended up finding it on Mr. Guns and Gear's Instagram. So in this video, it's a Ring door cam, which honestly, I think this was one of the biggest selling points for Ring door cam. I think they need to just use that as their marketing. Forget this whole wholesome thing. Just like, hey, if someone tries to clap you while you're opening your door, clap back.
Yeah, commercials where it's like, oh, thank you, Mr. Amazon, delivery man. Help yourself to a snack. Like, that's not what's selling the Ring to me.
Yeah, no. But watching this man have verifiable proof that this dude pulled a gun on him first, and then he shoots him in the face while fiddling with his keys one-handed, just absolutely fucking no-scopes this guy to the face.
So he's like, getting key...
You like
getting key to the door, hear someone talking, and I feel like he knew someone was probably coming.
It looked like he kind of knew this guy was following him.
If he's strapped, he's probably, checking corners and stuff. So fiddle keys, groceries in this bag. Oh, what was that? Getting gun out. And then dude that he suspects is sketchy is actually sketchy turn and just that.
Yeah, because the guy pulls the gun out on him, and then he just, boom, right in the face, fights over. He gets that first shot on target. And you know what? All these people talking about, you got to train like you fight. I think mag dumping into trash is starting to pay off. I'm starting to see the argument for I need to mag dump into trash more often.
Just ammo prices.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So it's
it's the only thing keeping me from training as often, I guess, at this point. It's funny, like I see gun prices starting to stabilize, and I almost think it's because nobody's buying guns because they're like, fuck, I can't even shoot the guns that I just panic bought over the year. I feel like we've stabilized or are starting to stabilize on gun prices and availability. The rare stuff is still hard to find, but I feel like
uppers kind of staying in stock places. Yeah. Everyone seems to have uppers and lowers, whether they're combined or not, available.
Yeah. And I feel like I can walk into any gun store and see a Glock 19 on the shelf now, which that would have been a shocker.
Even shields, because those have been super hard to come by.
Yeah, especially those. So that's this week's episode of Stay Strapped or Get Clapped. Make sure you spend your time training by mag dumping into trash, I think is the takeaway from that story.
Having a general idea of where your barrel's pointed.
There is definitely a valid point to training point shooting and just intuitive shooting of close range, knowing where your gun's pointing, being able to put shots on target at bad breath distance. Yeah. Obviously, you should also train to be very accurate with your sights, and that is why I carry a gun with a red dot on it and with a flashlight on it, because I want the most capability. But
Yeah, I have a question for you after this.
Okay. Yes, we'll keep that one off the record.
We'll tab that somewhere.
Yeah, and then let's see. The other one on another vein of Stay Strapped or Get Clapped, the mountain lion video.
Yeah. This one, at first, I was super, because it was Guns and Gear posted it.
And so I showed it.
The first time I watched it, I was like, was that him?
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of his videos. He doesn't seem like this guy was fucking
panicked and not prepared.
He's shaking, and he had the fucking god awful sights on his glove.
Yeah, the fucking XS big dots, which some people love. I hate them. Look, I know we've probably all seen the James Yeager video of him shooting a target at 150 yards with them. Congratulations.
I guess it falls into does it even fucking matter? For me, those are not the sights for me.
It matters to me.
Yeah, I hate them. Do you? It's all right.
But yeah, so in this video, the guy's clearly shaking, and I think a lot of people shooketh. He was shooketh. I think a lot of people don't really understand that there are lions that live in America. Mountain lions might not be what you typically think of a lion.
Especially Northern California.
Yeah, especially where we live.
Southern California.
The amount of times that I have seen mountain lions in places where they probably shouldn't be, or maybe should have been at one point, but now we're where.
This year there was 2 weeks where they'd see mountain lions walking downtown Petaluma.
Yeah, and it's the funniest thing about mountain lions is a lot of people would be like, oh, I've never seen a mountain lion. I bet a mountain lion has seen you. Mm-hmm. And I bet it made a conscious decision of, I'm not going to eat him today.
Yeah. That looks like more fight than I'm ready to put up.
But yeah, so in this video, the guy's it almost seemed like he was too calm. One of the things that everybody in California that has been around a mountain lion or been in an area with mountain lions probably knows is it's supposed to be loud as fuck, make yourself look as big as possible. Honestly, we're totally Monday night quarterbacking this, or you know,
he was too calm, but I feel like he was being so quiet because he couldn't find the depth, the confidence to be loud almost, and because he's get back.
Yeah, and it's what you needed to do was fucking
do it.
Yell at it, and honestly, look, warning shots at people, never a good idea. Warning shots at an animal that is specifically known to the best course of action is making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
In an area where the discharge of a firearm would probably not be unsafe. I don't know. That could have been a reasonable option.
Yeah, and he looked he ended up shooting a fucking bobcat or
mountain lion. And so it's do you want to do that? I don't know, man. I think
then he picks up, I had to shoot it. He had dropped his phone
and then
picks it up. Mm-hmm. And he was I just had to shoot it.
And it's I'm sure in that exact moment he had to, but there's probably things that could have happened before then. Well, he drops the camera And then
Monday
like a
night
second goes
quarterback,
by.
like you said, but
Yeah.
like it looked almost just intrigued by him because it's like ears. Its ears back? I forget.
I don't
but
know.
it
Either
just
way.
looked like it was like, oh, there's a dude here.
Yeah.
And
Since the
didn't know if
camera
it was
doesn't
too
show
close to
the
already run away, or if it was like, oh, am I engaged in this?
Yeah, but I feel like mountain lions, if you come up on one, they were probably aware of you before you were aware of them, you know? So like it probably came up to him. Like that's my assumption, just because the only times I've ever seen mountain lions is like been from a distance and like they were fucking stalking me and I'm like, don't like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it was probably aware of me for a while before I became aware of it.
Yeah,
but,
they're definitely hard to see.
yeah, and they literally
They're
are the same exact color as
grass.
California
Yeah.
when it's dry. But yeah, so it's like one of those things where like maybe there are some things that could have happened that would have led him to not having to shoot it. Like I'm going to take his word for it because we can't see because he drops the camera as he claims it lunges at him and that's when he shoots at it. Which like, yeah, if a fucking mountain lion lunged at me and like started to like pounce at me, I'd shoot it.
But it was still in the same exact place when he dropped the camera.
That's true. So, you know, who knows? And, you know, maybe when he shot in the face, it came back a little bit. You can't really know.
Yeah.
But there have been things that could have avoided it. And I think that's just one of those situations where it's like, unfortunate situation. Maybe things can be done different. And maybe we can learn so that if we are in a similar situation next time we're hunting, we don't end up having to shoot a mountain lion, which like, obviously there's like an argument to be made for like when you should and shouldn't hunt apex predators, but when you don't, if it's not the time and you're not actively doing it, maybe you should try to not to.
Yeah.
But obviously, who the fuck wants to die instead of shooting the mountain lion?
Yeah. It's really easy to say, but when you're not in that scenario.
Do you want to give one of your topics?
Yeah, so one of the ones I was actually like, I wouldn't say offended, but like, so where was this? This was, I don't know where it was. Anyway, Subway gets robbed. The Subway gets robbed. Woman wrestles gun from the
Subway
robber.
sandwiches, by the
Subway
way, not
sandwiches.
a Subway.
Let me click on this link because I want to figure out where it actually is. Oh, it's been removed. Been removed from YouTube. Surprise. Anyway, so man comes into Subway restaurant, forget what town it is, and girl wrestles gun away from robber. Doesn't shoot him, just like gets him to go away. You know, calls police, whatever. At that point, she doesn't give a fuck about Subway. She doesn't care that he's robbing Subway. He's pointing a gun at her.
Yeah.
She's providing self-defense. So the manager, so she gets sent home. Like there's police report, all of this.
Like nobody is willing to, like if you're working at like a job like that, like if you're working at McDonald's or something, like I would not be willing to take a bullet for the $150 to $300 in the register. Yeah. Also, I just don't give a fuck about my job if I was working in a place like that.
Exactly.
They do care about their lives, though.
So, yeah. So she goes about her business, and they don't call her back. They're not returning any of her phone calls to come back to work. She's basically on leave, and they just say, oh, you're on leave until, like, the investigation's over, but no manager or employee or anyone is taking her calls, and she is essentially laid off. She does several news interviews and says, like...
She defended her life.
Yeah, she defended her life. They're not taking her calls. She still wants to work. She needs the money. But, you know, like, where did she go wrong kind of thing? And it's just like, Subway,
so is
you.
Is it that, like, the company doesn't want her to work there because they feel she should have just let the guy rob them?
Yeah,
but it's like...
I think that's it, but... They didn't make a comment. They're just kind of
just fucked up. I feel like this
sweep
is
it under the rug.
Yeah.
Like, oh, something bigger will come along, and then we'll deal with this when the news isn't looking at us.
I feel like this is like similar to those situations where like Uber drivers, and if you're not aware, Uber and Lyft, I believe, both have a policy where the drivers are not allowed to carry a gun or any sort of weapons to defend themselves. And, you know, yes, Uber and Lyft do have some security measures in place to, like, know who is picking them up at what point, and many of them do have dash cams. but those things are only for like recording the information to be used after a crime or an assault and battery has been occurred.
So if the guy gets his head fucking beat in,
yeah,
they have an idea who did it.
I feel like every 6 months or so, there's an Uber driver or like a Lyft driver that ends up having to use their concealed carry firearm to defend themselves against someone else with a gun or a knife, and then Uber terminates them. And it's like, look, okay, I understand that you have the policy. I think it's a shitty policy. But if somebody would have otherwise died, just fucking look the other way. Just look the other way. Just forget about it. Say, you know what? Keep working. Keep being an Uber driver. It was either you die or you defend yourself. So it's like, are they on the side of you should just die instead? Because like, I don't think there's been many situations in the news where Uber driver who is
defends life.
Yeah. Uber driver who is like in the moral right for like carrying a firearm just decides, you know what, and just shoots the passengers. You know, I don't think I've heard a news story like that, but I have definitely heard news stories like Uber driver killed. And it's like, you know, when you see like comment like threads about this or like posts on Facebook or Reddit or something about those kind of situations, people are always like, yeah, you know, if I was an Uber driver or if I was them, like, I just wouldn't pick anybody. Like, you know, when I worked in these areas, I wouldn't pick anyone up in certain blocks. And I'm like,
yeah,
you know what? I don't blame you. If like they're not allowing you to have the tools to defend yourself, would you want to go there?
Yeah.
And
Did
even
I ever
then,
tell you I worked for Uber for like one day?
No.
So like I did the whole thing. I was going to college just trying to earn extra money.
It seems like a decent way to just like, you know, like random pickup. Like I need to make $100 tonight. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I did one ride, drove a dude like from his house downtown in the middle of the afternoon, and like I was always just so nervous to use the app because I was like trying to do it between classes or like my other job, and I was like, I'm gonna pick someone up and they're gonna want to go to the airport. Yeah, I'm gonna be stuck in San Francisco, and like I don't know how to cancel rides yet. So like I just got like way too stressed out and anxious
that was
about
like,
it that I was like,
if that was a few years ago, I don't think like all the like measures were in place of
Yeah,
like you
this
don't know
was pretty
exactly
early
where
on. This was
someone's
probably,
going
like-
always. Like they can like change their mind like once they
this
get
was
in.
like 8 years ago probably.
yeah.
It was pretty early on in Uber.
So it
Like,
was basically
Lyft
just like you
wasn't
just
really
get them
even
to
a
show
thing
up
yet.
and that's it. And it's like, I want to go to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh fuck no.
I don't know how to cancel. Can you cancel this? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I had a buddy in college who he did Lyft, and he did a few, same thing. He like did a few and was like, fuck, like I don't really want to do this, but if I do like 5 more rides, they'll pay me like $1,000. Like he signed on as some like promotional bonus.
Yeah.
And we were like, fuck it, Brian, I need to go to Safeway. It's a 2-minute drive. I got $5 on it, and then we'll like literally we did like 5 rides where it was just like, let's go to Walmart down the street.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
he
I
like
didn't think about that.
split the $1,000 with us, and he just never did it again. But yeah, so it's crazy. Like when businesses have policies against defending themselves, and it's like there's certain types of jobs where like maybe you work in a very stable location with like good security measures, and nobody ever gets fired, and everybody is making good money and mentally stable. It's like you can maybe make the choice of, okay, I'm not going to risk getting caught with it over the next 20 something years, because you do the risk reward analysis for yourself. But it's like when you work in potentially shitty locations, or just if you're working with the public and you're going to have to be picking up Uber drivers and shit like that, you know, stay strapped or get clapped, I guess, is the only choice you got. So this is going to be a topic that I think is going to get some people a little bit hot and bothered. But so when I make videos talking about the California assault weapon ban or discussing certain laws that are being proposed, either statewide, federally, nationally, a lot of people get really upset when I say the word assault weapon. And I think it's for 2 reasons. One, they don't understand the definition between assault weapon and assault rifle. Both of them do have definitions. They're both made up definitions, but then again, so is every definition of everything is something we all just decided and made up. So we're going to clarify, and then I'm going to say why I say assault weapon, and then why we just shouldn't even give a fuck. So assault rifle, what is it? An assault rifle is a select fire rifle, meaning semi, full auto, burst, whatever, of an intermediate caliber, meaning something like smaller than .308 but bigger than 9mm. So 7.62 by 39, 5.56, those kinds of calibers. So a full auto, semi-auto, safe, some sort of selector like that is in a mid-size cartridge. That is an assault rifle. An assault weapon has more loose definitions depending on where you are. Some states don't have a legal definition for assault weapon. Good on those states. California, many other states do have a definition of assault weapon. And basically what it means is AR-15 or AK type looking firearms, modern looking guns with pistol grips, detachable mags, and the works. Is it scary and black? It's an assault weapon.
Like pro 2A stores will call them modern sporting rifles.
Yeah, and it's like, that's like the pussified, downplayed version that they're like, it's not an assault weapon. This is a modern sporting rifle.
It's not
like
bolt action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, okay, maybe some of these guns will be used for USPSA 3-gun and will be sporting rifles. That's fine. You can call those rigged out, blue, bling, fashion looking guns that Jerry Mitchell and the like are running. You can call that a modern sporting weapon. I'm fine with that. But the AR-15s that you and I are buying off the shelf, and many of you are buying off the shelf, who gives a fuck if it's an assault weapon or not? The Second Amendment does not say that we have the right to own modern sporting weapons. The Second Amendment does not give us a right to do anything. The Second Amendment is just an acknowledgement that's written on a piece of paper that acknowledges a right that was already there and has always been there to have the arms necessary for defense of yourself, others, the country, from the government, for the it doesn't fucking matter. So when I say assault weapon, I'm fine with it. I own assault weapons that are legally defined as assault weapons in the state of California, legally right now. We'll see how that goes later. But I own guns that are right now in the state of California legally defined as assault weapons. And that's legal for me to have right now. We will see how the future pans out. But it doesn't fucking matter. Stop trying to, pussify it.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. People get so pissed. People, if I talk about the California assault weapon ban, they're like, you need to stop saying assault weapon. It's a modern sporting rifle. You're using their terms and legitimizing it. Who gives a fuck? Why are we backpedaling and saying, this isn't a super dangerous killing gun? Literally, most of the guns that I own them and have configured them in a certain way so that they are effective for use of defense of myself or others, which requires the use of offensive force by shooting something or someone. We need to stop playing around with what it is. We need to be open and honest. These guns are literally designed to kill people. That's why they are designed to kill people. Are they also fun to shoot at the range? Yes. Can they be used in competition? Yes. But who gives a fuck if someone says assault weapon? The Second Amendment should be acknowledging your right to own an assault weapon, whatever it is you define that as. Just had to rant. Sorry.
Yeah. I was trying to work through something, but I lost it. But it had something to do with the definitions and I don't know.
People get so pissed. They'll be like, "Oh, there's no such thing as an assault rifle," and I'm like, "There is."
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, it's a made up definition. It's what did they used to get mad at? High capacity, low capacity, standard capacity."
Yeah.
There is a definition and it either fits it. We try to say standard capacity.
Yeah. It's
to make it less, but they still have an agenda and they still want to get rid of 30 round mags, whether you call them standard capacity or high capacity or fucking jerk off capacity.
Yeah.
They still don't like them.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Trying to pussify our language around it does not change the fact that they want it gone. Yeah. So if I say, no, these are modern sporting weapons, you think David Hogg is going to be like, oh shit. Well, slap my ass and call me Sally. Fucking go ahead and have your modern sporting rifles.
Shit,
no, that little bitch is going to try to take it from you with his 110-pound frame soaking wet looking ass.
He and anyone, they don't care what the definition is. They've created their own definition, their own names. They don't like them.
It's not about the guns. It's about the control. They want to not allow you to have the tools necessary to protect yourself. Speaking of David Hogg, he posted on Twitter today talking about how, basically saying government shutdown bad, Republicans bad, something like that. And he talked about how it affected his family back in the day in the 2018 shutdowns, I think. And he was saying like, oh, like these government shutdowns affect people. And he's like, for all those people saying my dad should have just got another job. He worked for he was an FBI agent. So how'd that work out? So the dude's dad is literally a fucking Fed. Like, this man glows so goddamn bright. Like, if you're telling me this man, like, this is conspiracy brain activated. If you're not here for this conspiracy theories, go away. If you're saying that this man is not some sort of like government asset that's just being paid, like, first of all, we all know that the organizations are being funded by Bloomberg. So it's like millionaire elites that want to fucking control you are literally using this man. And his dad is a fucking FBI agent. Like, if I needed more reasons to fucking hate this guy, it's like he's like it's like they perfectly crafted somebody I would fucking hate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sorry. Another rant.
Yeah, don't have anything to say about that really, but it gets, you're better with it because you have the vent to do it where like, yeah, we're doing this podcast now, but I haven't had the experience that Reno has had of like being able to air his frustrations like on the internet, where I'm just like so mad about things.
And you just sit there like,
and I don't know how to like be literate and just say what the fuck I'm mad about. I'm just mad about it.
Brendan mad.
Yeah, I break rocks for a living. Fuck you. So
he gets all his frustration and they're just sitting with the jackhammer.
But
when Brendan's mad, he goes lays some explosives and blows up the hillside.
Yeah, I'll just shut down for a while. But yeah, just frustrated. I'll work through this. I'll be more able to talk, to good talk. But shit just pisses me off.
Yeah. And now, like, you know, just as if we needed another reason to hate the state we live in, whether it's the fucking taxes, the violence, the gun laws. The most recent gun law that I made a video on, which now other people are catching wind on and making videos on, which is good to see, AB 173. So this bill, I see a lot of people still on the internet acting as if it's not a big deal. They're like, oh, you know, researchers, they're not going to leak your information.
It's already happened to me.
It's already fucking happened to me. I have literally already had the DOJ leak my shit, in addition to the fact that in the 2016 assault weapon registration period, in 2018 actually, the assault weapon registration somehow allowed normal people registering their guns to gain access to the back-end system and be able to see people's like names and addresses that were registering assault weapons.
How often do you get emails saying like, "Oh, we had a massive data breach. Your passwords and
literally
stuff are
all
no
the fucking
longer-"
time. Like and
once a month.
I've had several people like, so I made that video talking about how UC Davis and like, you know, other affiliated universities and research groups with them are going to be able to have access. And they're like, I work for this university. The amount of times that like we have had data breaches, their shit is so insecure. Their stuff is always being leaked. I'm like, I love to hear it. So people are acting like, oh, it hasn't happened yet. I promise you that the second that information is available on their servers, it's going to get put in a fucking Excel sheet, leaked on the dark web. And okay, yeah, the average dumbass fucking criminal is probably not savvy enough to go on the dark web and find that information. But
Feds are.
And people that want to do bad shit, real bad shit, are. And everyone's like, oh, well, why would anyone break into a house with a gun? Like, they know there's people with guns there. Are you at your house 24/7?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay. Like, now they just know that they just need to watch your house once you leave. Fucking break into your house. I'm honestly just more concerned with just, like, my name, address, all that kind of... Like, I go through and I'm constantly trying to delete the information that the, like, government has leaked and, like, other data breaches have leaked. Because, like, I value my security and whatnot. And, like, yeah, you could probably find my shit online, but, like, I do a pretty good job. But it's like, you know, hey, if the fucking feds or if the California Department of Justice just hands an Excel sheet with my name, address, fucking every firearm that I own. It's like a shopping list. Like, like I'm
You want to talk a little bit about the guy who called you?
Oh, dude. Okay. Yeah. So if you're ever looking to try to get a hold of me, I'm sorry. Sometimes it's hard to get a hold of me through Instagram DMs. I get a ton a day. That's probably the best place to get a hold of me.
Or generally,
I have an email.
The answer to your fucking question is in one of his videos.
Yeah. So
maybe watch one of his videos.
I try to go on my Instagram message requests or my DMs, and I try to check that like 4 or 5 times a day. If I see your message and it's a question of how do I buy a gun? Can I get AR-15s? Can you get AR-15 pistols? How do I transport a gun?
Do you know anyone selling so-and-so gun? Like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
Like, I'm not going to answer questions on like, hey, where can I get one of these? Because my answer is going to be talk to your local gun store. I'm not going to answer, hey, how do I buy a gun when I literally have a video on my main page. I get a lot of questions that like I've made videos on and are like my most popular videos. So like, please go look at them. I don't have the time to type out 800 word paragraphs, but I have made a 20-minute video detailing everything you need to know. But then I do answer, a lot of like interesting questions. Like if I can answer your question and it's not something I've already made a video about, I typically try to answer. That being said, I also have an email that is freely available on this page that you can email me at. This man decided that, let me see if I can just find it. So some guy randomly texted me. So the guy says, sorry to bother you. I hope I have the right person. Do you have a YouTube channel with lots of subjects on the AR? My name is blank from Texas. If I have the wrong number, I apologize. And I just said, how did you get my number? All right. I said, how did you get this number?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to say like immediately that he was right.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah. And so he's like, I have a friend who works for the government. The reason I'm contacting you is this. Viewed one of your videos the other day, and I noticed an attic door in your corner ceiling. I'm not sure if you live in an apartment or house, but if you are living in an apartment, you might want to look up into the attic area to make sure your apartment is walled off. Because if it is not, someone could go through the attic area over to your apartment and steal from you. It happened to me once. Just trying to help out my fellow brother. And I said, so you had your friend in the government give you my number. How did he give you my number? And he's like, just fucking... If you're trying to contact me, that's the absolute worst fucking way to try to contact me.
Like, good intentions.
Like, yeah, but it's like a fucking comment, a DM, an email. There are so many other ways to get a hold of me. My website has a contact page on it. Like, if you need to get a hold of me, I assure you that going on the internet or using your government friends' connections to look up my personal information and contact me is not the way to go. There's ways to not be creepy on the internet. And that is not one of them. Don't do that.
Like he means well, but it also makes you realize like how much people notice in the background of your fucking video.
Yeah, I'm like, shit. Yeah, like I don't post photos of like the front of my house. I don't post photos showing like the streets. I never like.
It makes you realize you have to be more careful. But like,
yeah, when we moved, I was like
kind of a staged room.
Yeah,
but
and it's a pretty like bland room. There's not much information you can glean other than the fact that it has a closet and an attic, which
clearly an attic.
And it honestly, like from the main, like when I normally record videos, it looks almost exactly like my old setup. It's just slightly different. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when we
standing up now more.
Yeah, when we moved, I told Katie, I was like, not saying what city we moved to, not saying where we live, not posting photos of the front of our house. Like we ain't doing that shit no more.
I am now a niche internet celebrity, and people will find me.
I love those memes. It's like just like so specifically targeted. But yeah, I went to Vegas this last weekend for my buddy Giano's bachelor party, and I got recognized 3 times while I was there.
Damn!
And it was kind of funny because our buddy Brendan, not this Brendan, my other friend Brendan, him and like some of the guys were with me. We were like grabbing a drink at the bar before going to the pool party, and guy comes up and was like, hey, are you Reno May? And it just like it blew their minds because like and honestly I was pretty surprised, like because when I'm in a gun store in California, I kind of expect to get recognized. It's just like
we're walking around Sportsman's, there's going to be a dude that's like,
it's like I am so hyper focused into one niche, so when I go to the place where you do that niche, it's like I kind of expect it at this point, and it's still cool. It's just I'm more blown away or surprised when I like randomly like bump into someone. Like I was at
we were in Sparks.
Yeah, we're in
there's
Shields.
some random
Yeah. So we were in Vegas, at the bar, and like this guy, like bartender's like, "Hey, are you Reno May?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, like small world, bro." Like I was not expecting to get noticed at all while I was here. And it just blew their minds. And then like later in the day, we were going down an escalator as someone was coming up and was like midway, and like you ever like see a friend like going, and like he gave me the like, he's like, "Hey, are you Reno?" I was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Oh shit, do you mind if I like come take a?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll just wait down here for you." And like he literally he went, I went down, he went up, and then he came down, and like they were just like, again, they were like blown away. And then the third time it happened in Vegas was we were leaving the airport, or we were in the airport waiting to take our flight back, and yeah, it was funny. You got it.
I got it.
There we go.
Not only are those feet supple, but I can use them like a monkey.
It's always funny, like when I get recognized at places, because I'm like, I am spectacularly average, like in person. I think it's so weird because like people like they think I'm like some I don't know, bro. Like I work from home. I'm a fucking normal ass.
You do kind of have like an internet persona, like
I'm more like energetic.
Yeah, but like you have to do that for the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
So like,
and it's like a specific thing that I'm super passionate about. You're like, man,
it's like meeting a regular guy.
Yeah,
like he's probably not. Well, no, you're probably excited because like you're meeting someone, but
yeah.
Generally not.
I just don't know what to do. I'm like, I feel like I need to like have a magic trick on standby. Just like pull a dove out of my pocket in there for all like
some sort of like gun hologram.
Yeah,
like just whip it out.
And,
like yes,
if you got ideas for like
Firearms.
magic tricks, I could just keep on me at all times. Just be like, why? Yes, I am. Like I don't know. I just never know what to do. I'm like.
You have so many pockets.
Yeah.
You wear the Vertex. So like some small like
keep whipping out magic coins that just keep disappearing.
That'd actually be kind of funny.
If you always had like spark powder in your pocket, just
are you Reno?
Pyrotechnics.
Do you think?
Like oh no, this guy's a magician. It must not be him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I never know what to do. But like. And it's like, when I talk about like these videos, like it's a specific topic that like I'm super passionate about, and I usually like when I'm sitting there like before I press record, I'm like thinking about it, so I'm kind of getting worked up, I'm getting like a little more excited. So it's like I'm definitely more like it's like it's like a caricature of my personality, like when I'm recording.
Anyone ever worked in like
sales or retail?
Like I was thinking retail or like bartender. Hospital. What the fuck's the word?
Like a nurse? Like
no,
patient
not
care?
Hospital. Like
hospitality.
There we go. Like you have that persona. Like I was a bartender for years, and I hate people. But like
you and Katie too. I was like, how the fuck are you like the one?
So I hate people, but I also worked at a very niche. Like I worked at a private golf course. I saw the same guys every day. They were all exactly like me. It was like hanging out with my uncles, and I served them beer and whiskey. Like it was fantastic. It was right up my alley. Like,
yeah. So it's like
any other bartending. Nah, fuck that. I hated doing weddings.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's your customer service like personality.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you ever meet me in person, hopefully the next time it happens, I'll have some magic tricks for you. Well, I don't know. I'm a pretty normal guy.
I want to talk a little bit about the constitutional carry.
Okay.
So since there's so much going on in Texas, I was looking for just data about it.
Because I feel like everybody's always like, oh, blood in the streets. Obviously, Wild West.
Yeah. So I found this is from West Virginia. So take that as you will. I don't know how it's relevant, but they have constitutional carry.
Yeah.
So from 2015 or 2013 is when this data starts. They've seen increase in gun-related violence every single year until they get to, and it's marginal. It's
like one of those things
from
where
1 year, it's like
a technical increase, but it's like,
Yeah, so they do it by 100,000 people. So it's like 299 to 316 to 305 to 316 to 347 to 361,
okay.
and then you get to, I believe it was installed in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So they allowed for constitutional carry
Starting in 2016.
in 2016, and every year since then have seen decreases. So it starts at, in 2013 with 305, got up to 361, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The last data point, it was 299 in 2018 and 316 in 2019. So slight increase in 2019, but still lower
than the peak.
Before. Even, it's still lower than
and it's
4 of the 5 years that they had data.
And the great thing about the data that we need to prove that we were right is like they were like everybody that's against guns and against constitutional carry says, oh, it's going to cause a huge increase in violent crime. So even if crime stayed the exact fucking same, we still win on that argument of like, no, obviously, like the bad people who do crime were constitutionally carrying anyways. The good people who don't want to do crime and just want to protect themselves now have the ability to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And, it's like, if I had to choose what city I would rather go to rob someone, it's probably not going to be somewhere in rural Montana.
Yeah.
Or Idaho, or like one of those states.
Like there's a reason why Democratic states, cities have high crime.
And it's certainly not because they have good gun rights.
Yeah. Generally because their citizens have been stripped of their rights.
Yeah. And it's like, like whether it's like causation, correlation, who knows? Like, you have to look at a lot. But like, it's certainly not in the best interest of the private citizen to have no means to protect themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm so like confused when people are like so against like the idea of the ability to carry a gun to protect yourself. Cause I'm like, okay, like it's usually, I'm going to generalize here, smaller, weaker people who are against the idea of having the tools to protect themselves that want to rely on the government. And it's like, you could beat the shit out of most people in this world. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Can you beat the shit out of 8 people? No. But if you have a gun, you're certainly stronger than,
So, yeah,
like, it's like, it's always like the like soft little weak little liberals that are like, oh, like, why would you want to carry a gun to protect? Like, what are you afraid of? Nothing. I have a gun.
Yeah, I feel like it goes back to experience. Like they just haven't had the experience with firearms. And that's why it's important to bring your buddies. Yeah. Especially the people who, like, they're your buddies, but they're not necessarily the same side on you.
Yeah.
With firearms, they lean against the Second Amendment.
And it's like you got to like choose your battles too. Like some of our friends are very much like not ever gonna come to our side. I'm not gonna waste my time at this point in my life trying to convince people that are way over there to come on over to the polar opposite end. But some of our friends, I'm not going to name them by name. They're the ones that live in Sac that I went and visited. So her and her boyfriend, they moved to Sac, and, downtown Sacramento isn't exactly like a super safe place. And obviously, like, I'm the friend in the friend group. I'm one of them in the friend group where it's like, if they're interested in guns, it's like they come to me and it's like, so you've chosen to speak to the master. Yeah.
One day I knew you would come. Yeah.
I knew you would come. So they had kind of like mentioned like little things about like, oh, like kind of interested in like having something to protect myself. Like maybe want to get some pepper spray. And it's like, okay, like you can ease people into the idea of a gun with like taking active steps to protect yourself. So it's like, whether that means like getting a home security system, getting some pepper spray, like having a baseball bat in the house. There's like little steps that like, obviously for me, I would rather also have the gun, but you can kind of like ease people into the idea of like taking active steps to protect yourself. And
the first time you bring them shooting, maybe don't have them shoot your 300 Win Mag bolt action rifle. Maybe start with the 22 revolver.
Yeah. And then,
work your way up where they're like, oh, okay. Like that is very manageable. It doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
You hand them like this big rifle they can barely hold and they're just fucking thrown back. Yeah. Like they're not going to want to shoot anymore.
Exactly.
It's going to make them equally as scared, if not more scared of firearms.
Yeah. And so now, like recently, they had an
Tame it
experience.
back.
Yeah, exactly. Like work their way up, ease them into it. But recently, like I've tried to always like be that like good example of like I own guns. I carry a gun everywhere I go. Sometimes if we're going out to dinner or something, like anytime, like I'll be carrying my gun, and then like if we come back to my house, I might take it off, not necessarily like flaunting it in front of them, but like I'll like take it off and like maybe I'll set it down like on like the coffee table or like in my room or something. And I'll like make a comment of like, fuck, feels like taking it. Like, I feel like this is like what it's like for a woman to take their bra off. That's like one of my go-to phrases to like bring it up. And they're like, you were carrying a gun? I was like, all fucking day. And like, they had no idea. So it's like kind of just like showing like, this is what carrying a gun looks like. It looks like nothing.
Yeah. You don't even know.
So yeah, like they recently had an experience with some guy like, like kind of making them a little nervous, like out in front of their house. Cause they live, downtown Sacramento. And they were like, they're now interested in getting a gun, and he is super interested in like getting, like he wanted like a pump action or a semi-auto shotgun, like a Benelli M4 or like the Benelli M2 is another like popular option. Yeah. And I was like looking to like the 1301, and I was like, honestly, like a shotgun, there is truly nothing in this world at the right distance with the right loads that has the one-stop shot or one-shot stop potential that a shotgun does. Like, you shoot someone center mass with double-aught buck at 10 yards,
you're going to see some shit.
They are not going to survive it. If they are not wearing body armor, and like most people that are trying to protect themselves are not facing
even
armor
the ones
threats.
that are like methed out, because we've seen videos of methed out guy taking 40s to the chest and just like grabbing gun from man.
If you remove the lungs, heart, and central nervous system from the center of a man, there is no amount of meth in this world that will keep them moving.
Called spinal tap.
Yeah, So like if you physically remove their spine and lungs from their body, they're pretty much done. But a shotgun does have a significant amount of recoil, and so like that's my main concern, especially with recommending it, like to have like her be comfortable with it. And it's like I'm kind of like trying to like I want to have them come out and shoot sometime, and I'm like trying to get them interested. Like, hey man, like if you want to build an AR-15, like they sound intimidating to the people that aren't into guns, but I'm like, look, way less recoil. I can get you set up with some stuff. Like I got so many parts downstairs that's like if you got a lower, I have all the parts to
finagle something.
I was like, I got all the parts to assemble like a lower right now, and then I got a spare bolt carrier group and charging handles. So like we can get you up and running with a flashlight and optic and everything for like under $700 right now.
We can get you gunning.
Like if you like, I can get you a hookup on a gun case. I got some mags for you. I got some stuff, like you acquired your Freedom Week mags, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, there's like things that like, it's hard to make a recommendation for like a first time gun owner when it's like for like a couple, because it's like, he's 6'3" to 6'5", just a fucking big guy. Like there is no gun that he would not be able to physically manhandle. Like, and she is not, and she's probably a lot more nervous to it. So it's like, you gotta pick something that's going to be like,
try and find that
as devastating as I know you want.
Handguns can be difficult too. So you want a rifle, they can shoulder it. A lot of people are skeptical about AR-15s. They're just scared of them because they've been made to look black, scary gun.
It's like, it's the gun that kills babies. So it's like, why would I want to bring that into my home?
Yeah,
but it's like,
so
let me tell you why you want to bring it into your home.
a good bridge, like your Ruger PC carbine.
I told him, I was
that's
like,
always a great one.
I love mine.
Do they make those in like 40, 357? Like,
I think they make them in 40. They're harder to come by, and honestly, like I would just say go with the 9. Like,
I guess we've already talked about the ballistics difference between
and the ballistics for like pistol rounds get weirder at 16-inch barrels because like it matters even less because like you almost don't want that kind of velocity. You don't like really, because the hollow points are designed for a certain velocity range, and if you get them too fast, they get less effective. So it's like then the bullet choice is like,
you still want that like rifle cartridge.
But it's honestly
just something like less intimidating.
I think the PC9 is honestly like a great recommendation for like the first time gun owner that wants something to defend themselves, isn't quite comfortable with a handgun, and like obviously 9mm is a step down from 5.56, but the sound, the shootability, the comfort, it's it's more palatable of a look to people that aren't comfortable with owning an assault weapon.
And it's like it's a gateway drug.
Yeah,
like,
and
you'd be like, oh, this is cool. Like,
hey,
I can handle
look,
this. Like,
we'll get you some. We'll get you some. You got some Glock mags, you know. Hey, okay, hey, might as well get you a Glock that uses the same mags, buddy. You know, now you got a pistol and a rifle. Oh, let's get you a shotgun. Let's get you an AR-15.
Yeah,
let's get you a 22.
action,
Let's get you 17 more AR-15s, and we'll just take you on that roller coaster, baby. It's like
slippery slope.
How much money would you like to spend?
I know. I'm like recently finished all my well, not finished them, but like I'm like starting to get the itch again. Like I have a lower just sitting there that I'm like,
yeah,
I want to do more.
Yeah, I got a lower that's like I kind of want to put a 13.7 upper on it, but then I'm like, fuck, suppressors aren't legal in California. So
yeah,
it's
there's
like,
so many builds that I have like just floating around. Like the Honey Badger's still like number one. Like that is,
we got to get you an AR pistol.
That is so awesome.
I'll see if I can talk to some people.
But like, there's a 13.7 build that I want to do. There's like a Sons of Liberty build I want to do. There's a Roscoe build I want to do. There's like brands I'm trying to incorporate with different length barrels, but it's like just in California I'm limited on like what I can do.
Yeah, it's like,
so
okay,
like I get a 13.7, I got to
hider.
get a big fucking flash hider.
Yeah, and it's like if I get a flash hider, then I got to only be able to do it on a on a fixed mag.
It's like I'll get like a giant Warden.
Yeah,
and maybe weld that on there.
I think if I'm going to do a 13.7, I'm going to do it through this company. It's spelled Bexar, Bexar, but it's pronounced Bear Arms.
I think I've seen.
I've shared them, yeah. And so like they do an upper build for like and they do like crazy QC. So like we talk about like companies like Sons of Liberty Gunworks, BCM, and we say like, oh, their QC is good. This dude is literally going through like each bolt carrier group and like gauging every single measurement on them.
Yeah, is he like magnetic?
He's taking the gas key off, replacing them, and replacing the gas screws with better screws, restaking them. And if any of them don't like perfectly fit the like middle of like the specs for everything,
it's just like
he's like, this is a blem. He's like, this one does pass all the tests, not as good as I want it to. It's a blem, and it's like so you can get a complete 13.7 from him with a bolt carrier group and a radiant charging handle for like I think like under $700 or something like that.
That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, so I think if I'm gonna do a 13.7, I'm gonna do it through them.
I kind of want to talk about how good weapon lights have gotten.
Dude, it's insane.
And how many different options there are. So not only like Candela, lumens, like all of that's really good, but there's so many different options. There's cloud defensive.
Yeah.
There's surefire. Even enforced plastic, or not plastic, but they're
metal lights.
Polymer, like their polymer lights are even good. Like there's so many options, so many different price ranges, short, long.
Just never Olight.
Yeah, never
Olight. Olight is actually technically superior. It's the only flashlight with a confirmed kill. Do you know that story?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you that don't know, some guy's working on his underneath his car with his Olight in his mouth, which like everyone's like, oh, what was he doing? Putting a flashlight in his mouth. You've clearly never been underneath a car or worked in a tight space.
Yeah.
The amount of times in the rock quarry where like I would have a flashlight in my mouth, like pointing it at what I'm doing, so my hands are free. It's like if I had an Olight, was that going to blow up and literally kill me? But anyways, yeah.
Or like if you had it on
oh my god, a headlamp and it just fucking blows up and burns your skull with the power of the sun.
Like even if you don't die, but now you're just blind.
Oh god, yeah.
Fucked up both your eyes and sheared off half your nose.
It really is crazy like how far weapon lights have come. Even just thinking like when I got into guns in like 2013, it's like, okay, there's the TLR1 and that at the time put out like 400 lumens and that was like, holy shit, 400 lumens. And then there was the Surefires that put out like 600. Like, holy shit, 600 lumens.
Pistol lights also have come super far.
I'm really stoked to see Cloud Defense's pistol light because I have the mod light and that thing is a fucking massive light. I have it on my full size SIG P320 and it's like unreasonably large. Like I would argue that this is a rifle light and it's using a head of a rifle light. So I guess technically. But I don't know. I don't know if I would ever actually carry with the mod light. The mod
light's really cool. Cloud Defensive, super excited for them.
Because they have
one.
It's
weird because, there are so many good brands for lights that, I don't like being glued to one.
Yeah.
But I have the owls, and I fucking love it.
I love
just
the
not
owl.
having the switches and shit to deal with. It's all enclosed.
Because like
I feel like they just have a good like they're just as good lights, and then it's like Apple and iPhone like does all the same shit, slightly more convenient, and I'm like, yes, like I'm fucking into that.
And like the owl, like people rag on it because like, oh, I can't mount. It's harder to mount up alongside night vision. I'm like, okay, for the few people that have specific night vision builds, the cloud defensive owl is not for you. However, there are many other lights on the market that do work with those very well. But for 99.99% of the guns out there being used by 99.9% of the people, honestly, I love the cloud, the owl, just because I've had so many pressure pads from various companies die on me. It's just it's a weak point. Even the Mod Light hot button, the Arasaka hot button, and the Mod Light mod button, having cords exposed, even with great cable management, is a very like vulnerable point. And people that say it's not a vulnerable point have not run their guns hard enough, most likely, or they've gotten very lucky, because I've gotten very unlucky doing normal ass shooting and busted so many like weapon light pressure pads. So it's just
having I hate to make it like a cloud defensive like circle jerk, but they're like pressure pads and how they interchange with like you can do IR and stuff like that, and
it seems really neat. And honestly, on a lot of my guns now, I just run the push button tail caps because it's just...
Yeah, on my first one, that's what I had, because you just hold it by the foregrip, and I just use my thumb to...
Because like with my... well, I'm a right-handed shooter, so like, right hand thumb, I can press it, and it's like close enough to the top of the rail, where if I shoot lefty, I can still reach over the top of the rail on the top and still press it. So it's like... It's obviously not as comfortable, but I'm planning on shooting my gun right-handed as much as possible.
Yeah.
So... for me, I just, on a lot of my guns, I've gone away from pressure switches.
Yeah, I need to change the fore end of my, like, home defense rifle, just because when
Too far forward, I think.
Yeah, when I initially made it, I was like, okay, I want my sights all the way to the front, and I want everything as far forward as I can, because I want to, like, lock my fore, and then, like, practicality, like, shooting matches and stuff like that, I'm like, actually, I kind of want it like here.
Yeah, I started like shifting everything back a few inches, so I'm like, it's way more comfortable. It's having all that weight out at the front makes it just heavier on your arm, and it's like, yes, obviously, we are weak little frail little beings, and like we just need to.
I'd love to just have my arm, but like
it's less comfortable.
It's less comfortable,
especially over time.
This isn't good.
Just do it with your left hand.
I don't go that way. Yeah, so. I'm in the mood to fiddle with my shit right now.
Yeah,
like
that's the reason I'm interested in a 13.7 because like I have my light moved back and my grip on my main AR moved back so much to where it's like this is a 15-inch rail and there's about 3 inches out in front of that bad boy. I bet if I got a 13.7 and if the brake or the flash hider was really effective, I bet that would be like good. Like even if it. Like even if we're not going to mount a suppressor, do whatever, I think if the brake itself or the flash hider itself is super effective, you're still 16 inches, but it might be a more optimal use of that range. Because like if it's a home defense gun, the bullet is still going to be going over 2,700 feet per second, over the 2,500 feet per second that you want with some of these smaller projectiles to still have the fragment and tumble ability. That's kind of like that magic number from what I hear. I could be wrong. But I mean, 13.7 inside 25 yards is still going to be moving super fast. It's still going to be moving plenty fast to do what you need it to do, which is put holes in bad people.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about my, like, changing my sights and stuff. Like, backup irons, what's your thoughts on them? Like, does all of your gun... I mean, I'm looking at a gun right now that does not have backup irons.
Yeah. I think
all of your guns, none of your guns, some of your guns?
So, this one is going to get a lot of people hot and bothered.
Or should we save this for, like, doesn't even fucking matter?
This is I want to do this one now. So, on my main gun that I use for home defense, I do have irons on it. However, since I have a 1.93 mount on it, it doesn't work with them. Is the Scalar Works technically a quick detach? Yeah, but it's so fucking tight. There's no shot I'm twisting that little knob with my fingers to get it to loosen and pop off. So because I have an aim point T or H2, I think, on it, It's like that thing is not going to die.
That thing is backup irons.
That thing is it is a beast, So it kind of depends. Some people are definitely in the camp of like, you should always have backup irons. There's some options out there like the Anvil USA. It's a mount for the aim points, micro sights or hollow sun, whatever it is. But in front of it,
I've seen those. Those are pretty cool.
And I think Mongoose, I'm not going to dox his real name, but who's shooting with us at Route 66.
Yeah, I've seen it.
He has one of those on it, and they seem super cool. So not all my guns have backup irons. One of my guns that has like the Vortex 1-6 with an offset red dot, I'm not going to ever put irons on that because my mount isn't quick detach, and I've got a second sighting system on that anyway.
Yeah.
And plus, that's, I don't know. And then this gun over here, the BRN 180, has just an Aimpoint Pro. So if I was running something like, for me, man, I would say if I had to prioritize between getting a hollow sun red dot and backup irons versus just like an Aimpoint, I would say I'd rather just go with just the Aimpoint. Because like I have literally seen in person an Aimpoint Pro that was burnt in the 2017 Sonoma County fires. They took it off the gun, put it on a new gun, and then it held zero on that new gun. Yeah. And I don't think that's the only instance in this world that has been documented of a Aimpoint Pro that has survived a house fire. So it's like, for me, if I'm putting an Aimpoint on a gun, I'm comfortable without irons.
And you and I are in the category of we change our batteries every year.
Yeah. So it's like
in our fire,
if the shit
smoke
hits
detectors
the fan,
and our guns, so it's like the chances of the battery dying are really slim, but also like shit hits a fan, you don't have irons, you don't have backups, you don't have you can probably barrel aim it,
and like, so the thing is, like, it doesn't have backups. What if the end of the world situation? I will be very surprised if the world truly ends, and I'm talking like nut and fancy EOT walk, whatever the fuck acronyms, if the world truly ends and I survive longer than the battery in my Aimpoint, fucking congratulations, you won. You can just call it quits at this point. If I survive 3 to 5, or I think it's 5 to 7 on some of these optics. So it's like, and that's if I'm not turning it off when I'm like in a safe location.
I think my Huey's even like 50,000 hours.
Yeah, so it's like if my battery dies before I do, I'd be very impressed with myself, to be honest.
Yeah. So I run just flip ups, just Magpul flip ups. My regular optic is 1/3 co-witness, so like yeah, it works, but like the chances that I actually do have them zeroed in pretty good because we did it at our buddy's house, but the chances I'm actually using them are slim to none. I'm kind of thinking about taking them off, but
it's like there's no point of taking them off though, unless you want to put them on another gun.
Yeah. So it's like, I'll just get different. Like, they're not that expensive.
Yeah.
I'm spending a lot more money on a lot more stupider shit.
It's like I'll spend another $80 on an MBUS set.
Yeah. Even if I'm getting 45 degree offset irons, which I probably won't do because
I'd rather get an offset red dot.
Exactly.
The offset like MBUS Pros are like almost $200, and it's like I think I get like a $50 offset mount and a hollow sun for about that price.
Yeah.
Like, or a Sig Romeo. So it's like if I'm going to have a backup option, the backup option is clearly not as optimal as the main option. Like, so if you have like a 1-6 scope with a backup like offset red dot, that kind of accomplishes the same goal of having your offset and backup sights.
And if they're like Trigicon, if they're powered by the sun, you're 1-6 anyway.
Yeah. So if you have the hollow sun with the solar power.
Yeah, well, that one, but
even like a tritium, the tritium
like
RMRs,
the tritium. Like you don't really need a fucking battery. If you have an etch reticle, you don't really need a fucking battery. So like,
it's gonna go forever.
Are you gonna need backups? No.
If you last longer than the half-life on the tritium gas in that thing, again, congratulations, you've won. You've outlasted everybody else in the world.
Let's meet up at the end of the world and be like, hey, good job.
Hey, congrats, man. Your batteries
both made it.
Yeah. Oh man. I think that's a good point to call it. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will try to make sure the volume is much better this time around so it doesn't blow your ears out like the last one did when the ads played. This will be on Spotify. It will be on iTunes, I believe. It just depends on if it actually syncs up. We will see. But it'll also be on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening to us ramble for
Some amount of time
about an
now.
hour. Yeah, so this was awesome. I think we're going to keep doing this. Hopefully we do this maybe in like 2 weeks from now. I don't know if this will be a weekly thing. It's kind of just a lot, but
Yeah.
I feel like 2 weeks, at least once a month.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's in development. You know,
We're figuring it out. We
Yeah.
might set up a studio in the garage. We might,
might do something else. It's hot up here.
yeah, it's a tiny ass room. You know, it doesn't have a shared attic, fortunately, so no one can break in.
Yeah. That's really disappointment.
Yeah, you wanted to break in. But you guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.
Bye.